studios, here she is now, Ellen DeGeneres.
Hello and welcome. Today we have an intense show for all you out there. The theme is the progressive era. As some of you know, we are in the middle of a progressive era. All of us are hoping that this reform movement cures the problems within our society. Here's a quote I want to read to all of you. On the outside, good things were happening to the U.S., but it was rotten underneath. This was said by Mark Twain. Mark Twain is absolutely right. To many of us, our society may seem swell, but underneath one may have no knowledge of the weaknesses and the corruption that occurs in our society. Today, though, I want to educate all of America. I want them to know what goes on behind the scenes. Today, joining us, I have two guests. Our first guest, Boss Tweed, is one of the biggest offenders of political corruption. Our second guest is government official and reformer Robert Smith, who is going to show us the problems in our society and the reforms that are being put into action. Please welcome William M. Tweed, the head of Tammany Hall, New York City's most powerful democratic political machine. Hi. So, Boss Tweed, why don't you explain to the audience exactly what political machines do?
Well, our political machines control the activities of political parties in the city.
So you're saying that you control our political parties? How does this benefit the people in society?
Well, we help the poor immigrants gain higher status in our society. We help by naturalization, housing, and jobs.
Oh, how nice. And you do this without getting anything at all in return?
Well, we hope if we're lucky enough to gain the support and even a vote from the immigrants.
I see. Would you happen to know what grafting is?
To my knowledge, grafting is used to political influence for personal gain.
Right. I also assume you have not used this to earn your political power.
No, of course not. I've never used that.
So I guess political cartoonist Thomas Nast has wrongly accused you of fraud and extortion in his drawings of the Tammany Tiger Loose and Tammany Ring?
No, I never really heard of those, so I guess not.
Well, why don't we take a look at them?
What the F?
Okay.
No.
That was Boss Tweed. We'll be right back, so stay tuned for our second guest, Robert Smith. Now that you've seen who and what is causing corruption in America, why don't we find out what efforts are being made to end this corruption? Please welcome reformer Robert Smith. So, what exactly are some reforms that are taking place within our government?
Well, we are trying to switch from a system similar to Jackson Spoils system to a civil service exam. This will ensure that our government is free of corrupt officials and that the government could be run as effectively as possible.
Yes, I think that reform will be effective. Hard work should be essential in gaining jobs. When is this going to go into effect?
Well, we are working on an act called the Pendulum Civil Service Act. Hopefully this will create a bipartisan civil service commission to make appointments to federal jobs through a merit system based on candidates' performance on the examination.
That seems like a fair system. So before this act, you're saying if I was friends with authority, I could potentially gain a job in the government?
Yes, and we are also thinking about making our society more democratic and giving the people a greater say in the laws that are passed. We need people to sign our petition to place an initiative. This will allow the people, instead of lawmakers, to pass bills. The referendum will allow voters, instead of a legislator, to accept or reject the initiative. The recall will give voters the power to remove government officials from office if they feel that they are not performing the duties and obligations as they should be as government officials.
This will definitely give society more of a say in government. So, I hear there's another constitutional amendment being processed.
Yes, the 17th Amendment. This amendment states, "The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, elected by the people thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. This is going to replace the system of political machines as a way of electing senators."
I support the 17th Amendment. God bless the United States of America. Thank you, Robert Smith.
Thank you.
Boss Tweed is going down. Overall, our society seems superficial. We are gold-plated, gold on the outside, and underneath we are cheap metal. We need to work together to make our government fully gold. I hope all of you out there listen and fight for our society. Thank you.
Lindsay Zawatsky as Boss Tweed.
Matt Lakehind as Robert Smith.
Nicole Regan as Ellen DeGeneres.